Sir Keir Starmer's dictatorship nilled. And then 2 hours later, he did his 15th U-turn.
The UK is burning, and Keir Starmer just poured petrol on the flames. In less than 500 days, the man who promised change and stability has turned Labour into a political corpse.
We did it! Change begins now.
Approval ratings at rock bottom, party support bleeding faster than almost any government since World War II. And now the knives are out.
You know, it's actually laughable how pious and condescending the Labour Party were in opposition. The way they laughed at the Tories and promised to be better, convincing us that the grown-ups were now in charge.
July 2024 felt like a new dawn. Keir Starmer strode into Downing Street after winning 411 seats, crushing the Tories. The public was exhausted from sleaze, incompetence and chaos, from Boris to Truss, and Starmer promised hope.
The Right Honourable Gentleman once told this House that when a Prime Minister refuses to take responsibility, and I quote, "It only serves to convince people that things cannot get better, that governments cannot improve people's lives, and that progress is not possible because politics does not work." Does he still agree with himself? And does he share my fear that that is exactly what is happening now?
Minister? People in this country, millions of people, have been let down for years and years and years. And one of the reasons was austerity, which his party supported. He should take accountability and take responsibility for what he has inflicted on this country.
Mr. Speaker, I think I touched a raw nerve.
If you can't afford to heat your home, you can't afford 4 more years of the Tories. Working people first, simple, deliverable. Fast forward 14 months. The honeymoon, dead on arrival. YouGov reports a net minus 47. Ipsos calls it the lowest PM satisfaction rating since 1977. Even Boris Johnson, at his resignation low, only hit minus 53. Jeremy Corbyn's nadir, minus 55. Starmer, worse than both.
Mark my words, Labour will raise your taxes. It's in their DNA, your work, your car, your pension.
Labour's vote share has collapsed almost 14 points since the election. Historic losses, post-war level devastation. Reform UK surges. The Greens climb. The Tories, while wounded, still breathe. What happened? How did the landslide hero collapse so fast? It started with U-turns. Small at first, then a snowball rolling downhill. Winter fuel payments. Labour attacked the Tories for considering cuts, then cut them even further, targeting only pension credit claimants. Pensioners froze. Backlash exploded. Meme culture labelled Starmer the granny killer. By May 2025, a partial reversal came too late. The public had already made up their minds. From welfare bills watered down, inheritance tax reversals for farmers, pub business rates flip-flops, to digital ID cards promises undone. Starmer's government became a catalogue of chaos. The media counted 14 major U-turns by mid-2025. February 2026 brought another bombshell, delaying May local elections in 30 councils. Over 4.6 million voters temporarily silenced. Legal advice said unlawful. Starmer retreated after reform threatened court. 15th U-turn, humiliation guaranteed. Each climb down screamed weakness. Each reversal whispered panic. Labour voters noticed. Polls show over half now think Starmer should resign. Even loyalists are torn. 46% for, 46% against. The base, cracking. And while the public seethes, whispers in the corridors of power grow louder. Leadership vultures circle. Andy Burnham, rebel backbenchers. Even some soft-left MPS begin plotting. Starmer clings to the edge, but the political storm isn't over. It's only just beginning. Keir Starmer's government went from chaos to catastrophe. Fast. U-turns piled up. Trust evaporated. And then the Epstein scandal landed like a political bombshell, shaking Labour to its core. It all started with policy reversals that stunned even the most hardened political observers. Winter fuel payments, welfare adjustments, inheritance tax reversals. Each U-turn compounded voter anger. Starmer promised a stability, but delivered flip-flop after flip-flop. The public wasn't just disappointed. They were enraged. Headlines screamed betrayal. Social media mocked him mercilessly. Granny killer, pensioners betrayed, weak leadership. February 2026 added another seismic shock, delaying May local elections in 30 councils to free up capacity for local government reorganisation. Over 4.6 million voters were temporarily sidelined. Legal experts called it unlawful. Reform UK threatened court action. Starmer climbed down, humiliated. The Sun called it his 15th U-turn. Sky News tallied the list, from WASPy women compensation delays to sickness benefits cutbacks. Each reversal a public relations disaster. The public noticed. Polls reflected fury. Labour voters fractured. Over half the population now openly questioned Starmer's leadership. Even party loyalists were split. The honeymoon? Over. The illusion shattered. But policy chaos was just the prelude. Then came the Epstein bombshell. The appointment of Peter Mandelson, a known associate of Jeffrey Epstein, as US ambassador rocked the corridors of power. Starmer defended it, claiming due diligence had been done. But evidence emerged suggesting otherwise. Calls for resignation erupted from within Labour itself. Headlines blared, Epstein didn't break Starmer, but it may finish him. Whispers of leadership challenges grew louder. Andy Burnham, polling far ahead in head-to-head matchups against Starmer, refused to rule out a challenge. Backbench MPS began murmuring about a leadership contest. Names like Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner floated in the conversation. Even Scottish Labour figures openly questioned Starmer's authority. Reform UK and other opposition parties smelled blood. Nigel Farage's party surged in polls, while Robert Jenrick framed Labour as the establishment betrayers of British families. Every policy failure, every U-turn, every scandal compounded the narrative. Starmer is weak. Starmer is ineffective. Starmer is finished. Meanwhile, internal divisions festered. Soft left MPs plotted. Labour's NEC blocked Burnham's return to Westminster temporarily. A tactical move, but timing looked suspicious. Starmer's team fought back, but cracks were visible. Labour's internal cohesion was crumbling at exactly the moment voters were losing faith. The lesson? Policy missteps can be repaired. Scandals, betrayal, and leadership doubts can't. Once whispers turn into open revolt, the public senses it immediately. The party's image erodes, morale collapses, and the media smells blood. Starmer was no longer merely unpopular, he was vulnerable. The stage is set, the knives are out, and as May 2026 locals approach, Labour's collapse could accelerate into total annihilation. But the final act isn't just about politics, it's about the people Starmer promised to serve, now watching their so-called saviour crumble. The chaos isn't just political, it's economic, social, and personal. Now we uncover how Starmer's failures have hit families, workers, and everyday Britain, and why the endgame may already be written. Beneath the U-turns and scandals, the real damage is hitting voters where it hurts. In their homes, wallets, and futures. Energy bills remain sky high, inflation bites hard, and essential services creak under pressure. Cost of living misery isn't a talking point, it's reality. Starmer promised change and stability, yet voters see stagnation, delays, and broken promises. Immigration figures rise while public confidence falls. Net zero pledges falter, leaving citizens questioning priorities. Schools, hospitals, and councils groan under austerity and mismanagement. Families feel abandoned. The sense of betrayal is visceral. Social media buzzes with outrage. Pensioners, farmers, small business owners all feel forgotten. Meanwhile, the leadership knives are out. May 2026, local elections loom. Analysts warn Labour could bleed seats to Reform, Greens, and Lib Dems. Just 20% of MPS can trigger a leadership contest. Andy Burnham or another contender could step in. Labour's internal divisions worsen by the day. Starmer's authority is crumbling from every side. Soft left MPs, backbenchers, and even party elders whisper of resignation. Reform UK's surge to 31% in the polls isn't just symbolic, it's a warning. Voters perceive Labour as out of touch, weak, and scandal-plagued. Every U-turn, every policy flip, every association with controversial figures fuels the narrative. Starmer cannot lead. His hero to zero story is complete, the fastest political collapse in modern UK history. Even the media is merciless. Newspapers, TV channels, and social platforms document every misstep, every crisis, and every tremor at the dispatch box. Visual evidence of Starmer's hand tremors, hesitations, and flustered statements reinforce a leader on the brink. Public perception isn't just negative, it's catastrophic. The question now isn't if Starmer will fall, it's when and how badly. A poor showing in local elections, another U-turn disaster, or additional revelations from the Mandelson-Epstein saga could trigger a domino effect. Labour may fracture, a leadership contest could ignite, and long-term trust could vanish forever. Climactic moment. The public watches, the MPs manoeuvre, and the opposition plots. Britain has a front-row seat to the unravelling of a party and a leader once hailed as the nation's hope. From landslide hero to political corpse in just 14 months, Starmer's fall is swift, brutal, and merciless. As the curtain prepares to close, one fact stands out. In modern UK politics, power is fleeting, loyalty is conditional, and public memory is unforgiving. Keir Starmer may cling to office, but the writing is on the wall. The endgame is coming, and Britain will remember this collapse for decades. If you want to stay updated on the latest UK politics, scandals, and insider analysis, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Britain Daily. Don't miss out on the stories the mainstream media won't tell you. Hit that bell icon and stay informed.